Hi everyone, welcome to the first video of 2017. I couldn't be more excited to jump into this year and teach all you guys how to play the guitar. This video is going to answer one question. It's going to require a little bit of your attention and focus to hear my story with this one, but I think it's going to be worth it because it's a very valid point, and I think I have a very interesting backstory behind why I started the Guitar Den. Now, let me just start by saying that I go to this Form Fitness place every single day, and a guy asked me what I did for a living, and I said I teach guitar lessons. And he said, "Why would they go? Why would they go to you? They could just get that on YouTube." I thought deeply about that, and I want to focus this video on answering that question. I'll try and be as quick as possible, but I think listening to a reasonable amount of the story, it would be worthwhile for you to understand why I do what I do here. Now, on this page right here, I typed in guitar lessons, and this is what I came up with. Now, I think deeply about what goes on in the minds of my students, and I want to tell you a very quick story about something. Now, by the time I was about 17 years old, I was a really good guitar player already. But for some strange reason, a little later in life, I got addicted to code, computer code, and it looks like this. Okay? And I just was utterly addicted to it, and I loved the things that I could accomplish with all this code. What I can accomplish with it is kind of immaterial. The point is that the very same thing that drew me to the guitar in the 80s is what drew me to computer coding in the 2000s. And when I looked at this code and I yearned to figure it out, it was a pure addiction. I felt an incredible confusion. Where do I even start learning this stuff? And what I naturally did was I did the same thing that I did when I was learning guitar. I went to people who played guitar and I asked them questions. So in the code world, I went to people who understood this stuff and I asked them questions. I said, "What does this mean? What is this doing? What is this? Could you explain all this crazy stuff to me? What does this do?" And their answer was invariably something like this. "Well, the parameter goes through this argument right here, and which where the argument, the method is called, and it just goes through and it creates these different variables that amend the variable and spit it out." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I was left confused. And invariably, the main point that I want to bring across to you is this. When I ended up understanding all this code, I thought to myself, if I had the chance to explain it to myself when I didn't understand it, I would have done far better than they did. Why did they fail? They failed, I think, because they lacked one key characteristic of being a good teacher and a good human being, from my perspective, which is empathy. The ability to sympathize and empathize with the person you're talking to, meaning jump into their head and understand their perspective. Not your perspective, their perspective. Take it from scratch. And the great thing about the pain and the struggle that I endured and experienced in going through this journey, I was fired from 2 jobs and run out of 3 in this process. Why? Because my level of ambition exceeded my level of experience. When people saw me play the guitar, in fact, some people that wanted to hire me for jobs saw me play guitar and said, "If you can do the same thing you did with the guitar that with this code, you're hired." And I said, "I can do it." But the reality is that I wasn't quite ready yet, and I ended up losing the jobs. And in those jobs, I experienced an incredible pain of not understanding what this code was about. And make no mistake about it, it was very frustrating. So you guys must experience the same thing when you see me wail across a guitar like that, right? So I say to myself, don't ever talk over people's heads. Don't ever talk over people's heads. Like break it down to a very, very, very simple concepts and make them understand on a molecular level what you understand with the guitar. And that's my goal. And I believe that that ultimately is the goal of a great teacher. Now, look at all this when we go back to this guitar lessons, Neil Young, how to play this, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on, pages and pages and pages of people explaining how to play the guitar to you, which brings me to my point. The goal of the Guitar Den is to do the following. Let's look at it this way. What we do is we establish a goal. All right, let's look at it like this. Here's our goal. Now, from my perspective, the goal is going to be to play a great song for your friends. Let's take an Ed Sheeran song, or a Shawn Mendes song, or a Led Zeppelin song. It doesn't matter. I have a vision in my mind of what you're going to be. And I've accomplished the vision. I can go into any location and play my songs fearlessly, but you're on your journey. You're on the journey that I started years ago, and you're coming up, and you're probably a little scared on the stage. The role of a great teacher is to guide you through this process, this litany of information that exists. Just like when they tried to explain the code to me and they said, just take this variable and then send it through the buff size here, and then the temp will invert it and inversely proportionally, you're fired. It was crazy learning this code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set a goal, and all this crazy information. Here's the A chord that you got to play. Here's the strumming pattern that you got to play. Here's the way to hold the pick. Here's the way to hold the guitar. All the litany of information that's going to confuse the heck out of you from YouTube videos. What we're going to do is slowly and meticulously go through all of this information. Here's A chord. There's one piece of information. Here's strum. One piece of information. Here's hold the guitar. There's another piece of information. Here's the different chords involved in the song. All these things are parameters, aspects of playing the guitar, just like all these lines of code are parameters of amending a piece of information and subsequently sending it back into your program. Not what this does basically is let's say it could be, this is one example. This could be calculating the tax on an item that you order on eBay. It's that simple. So the information will go through this function and just calculate the tax and spit it back out. In a nutshell, that's all it's doing. But you don't know that by looking at that. So, and conversely, with the guitar, you don't know all this stuff by just looking at the guitar. I've seen people, when I play the guitar, I've seen them go away. I've seen them go from, if I go slow, then they're following it along. If I start to go fast, they're gone. So I go nice and slow. So here's the punchline of what I'm bringing across, and why a good teacher is beneficial as opposed to just surfing the internet and possibly getting confused. Not knocking online learning. It's actually really good. But the main point is that the amount of information that exists in the world today, I would think it could serve to drive you crazy in your pursuits as a musician. So here's what the teacher is going to do. Here's our goal. Our goal could be to play your first song in front of your friends at a family event. All of this information is going to be united and directed toward this goal. That's what a teacher does. That's why I think ultimately people are paying me to teach them how to play the guitar, because I've gone through the process and I know how to filter the information and send it to you. That ultimately is what I think the role of a great teacher is. That's the path that I'm going to be pursuing in 2017. And I hope you come along with me. Now, if you are interested in the guitar, by all means, I have room for a couple more students. I'm going to be starting classes. We're going to be playing in the kid bands over the course of 2017. Some amazing things are going to be happening. There's no doubt about it. So think deeply about what I said to you. Think about how I felt when I was looking at this code for the first time, how you must feel when you see me playing the guitar like this. To me, it's so simple. I've been doing it for so long that it's so easy, but to you, it's not like that. Think about the concept of empathizing with another person, and think about the concept that we're going to establish your goal. We're going to establish a goal, and the 1,000 different things and 1,000 different aspects and little sub aspects of playing the guitar are all going to be filtered through my brain and sent to you in a clear manner with this goal in mind. I'll see you guys soon.